Hello everybody, it's me again. Thank you guys for watching another one of my videos. This week we are back creating the prototype for my UI UX class. Last time you guys saw me, I was working on the wireframes of it. However, it has been roughly about 2 to 3 weeks since that time, and I have been cooking. I've been cooking a lot. Alright, so just a brief capture of all of what we've gone through so far. My name is Teddy Jones. I'm a software developer currently in my final semester of my bachelor's program with Valencia College. What I am attempting to create here is a Beyblade app that is a unified source of information and registration for Beyblade X tournaments. It is something that is very much needed within the community. As there currently are no uniform platforms in which people can view and organize tournaments. The experience generally that I want to generate for this user or the users of this application would be specifically, I would like to have them have, I would say, a positive experience, but in the context of because they don't have to worry so much. One of the big things that people don't realize when you go to Beyblade tournaments is Beyblades are heavy. The equipment that you use, the launchers, etc., those can be lighter compared to the Beyblades, but current Beyblade generation, aka Beyblade X, the Beyblades are a lot of metal. So that can get pretty heavy. And the reason why I came up with this app was specifically to work around that. Specifically allowing the user to be able to use, their hand, one hand essentially to navigate this app without having to worry about trying to balance their phone and their Beyblade collection. I feel like I gotta show you guys real quickly just, how heavy these Beyblades are. Let me go get my collection real quick. As you can see here, sorry, scooted my chair away. As you can see here, this is just a quarter of my Beyblade collection here in this tub, and I'm struggling to lift this with two hands. Normally, while moving this, I have to carry it like this under my arm. Very bulky, very heavy. And that's not even considering all the extra equipment. Any other Beyblades? Is there multiple sets that are going to be going on, All of these things, they matter to Beyblade users. So this app, essentially, like I said, is to help alleviate that burden. Excuse me, I'm out of breath. I do mean it when I say those Beyblades are heavy. Excuse me. So yeah, that's the experience I wanted to generate for the user. I wanted to ease that burden that they'd have of going to, tournaments and having to carry around this heavy material. Because I cannot imagine having to lug around all that heavy material, and then on top of that, when you have no hands, now you have to experience an overly complicated app or an out-of-date site or just forums, which are so tedious when you're in places like anime convention halls and stuff like that where signal is low. This app, tries to alleviate that burden. So what we're gonna do now here is I do have my my application open up currently. I do want to make you guys aware there are currently placeholders for the locations. And the reason why there are placeholders for the locations is because those locations are based off of real locations in the... Excuse me, I had a cough there. There are real locations within the Orlando area. So I didn't want to put their actual storefronts out there currently at the moment, if this were actually an app that was going live, I know generally we have to, try to abide by that rule as if it would be. But unless I have the user's permission to post the property business, I don't feel comfortable doing that. So all the images that are placeholders still on my application, please understand those are only for, legality and, I don't want any drama with any of these businesses. I don't want to be sent cease and desists just for trying to do what I got to do. So I just left those placeholders there. I'm probably going to get docked for it, but, it is what it is. I'd rather, not get sued. Anyways, let's go ahead and walk through our application here. Now, we do have several different flows that we will walk through. First, we're going to walk through the authentication, what the user would experience when they're actually using the application. So, like, let's say if they want to create their account, they want to log in, etc. We're going to go through that entire process here. All right. Now, I do want to, before I get to that, just want to make note. There are multiple pages here that say, like, sign up. If you look in on the frames, you can actually see there are different sign up states. So this is just going to pull that information in and etc. Here again, there's another login state 2. That's just so when I click on the screen, it'll actually populate information, being the fact that it's a prototype. You can't just type it in there. So that was the easier method for me to do. All right, there's more states here. We have a few states here for notifications that I'll get to in a few moments, but I just wanted to bring those up and mention them because there is a lot of different pages on here. I don't want people to get confused as to why it says multiple things, like log in, sign up. I just did that way to group them together. All right, so let's go ahead and create an account. We're going to go ahead and click here. It's going to populate all the information in there. It's going to give a username, which is their email address. So we're going to go ahead and hit join spin detect. Takes us back to the home page, which we're going to hit login. It's going to do the same thing. We're going to put in that information that populated before. We're going to hit login. And now we're on the actual home page. Now, keep in mind, I am a student working on UI UX class. I could not get a working radar. Okay, I've tried and I banged my head up and down this wall trying to get some sort of working feature or something for this prototype for a working radar. Somebody with higher pay grade obviously will be able to, I'm sure, work around it, maybe put a template there, and then once they get to the development mode, maybe they have more features that they can use and stuff there. However, that's not really helpful right now, so I put in a template page that the user would see when they came in, and it would be like, how many events that the radar is picking up, as well as any upcoming events that the user may have set reminders for. We'll get to the reminders here in a second, but let's go ahead and view those detected events, because the first thing we want to do as a user is see what events are on the app. Okay, and if the user wanted to, they could search their city, or they could search by a name, an event, and they should be able to, find what they're looking for. However, for the sake of this prototype, I've hard-coded in several events happening throughout the Orlando area. Sorry, I'm cracking up about this. So I picked 3 locations throughout the entirety of the greater Orlando area. Specifically, I chose South Orlando, the Kissimmee area. I chose Mid Orlando, and then I chose Maitland, the Maitland area. So these are, well, with the exception of Hobby World, the other 2 are real locations here within Orlando. This one's just the made-up one that I just came up with. But let's go ahead and walk through setting up a tournament. Let's say you want to RSVP for it, right? So you can go here. You can see that, our venue is verified safe, because that is one of the major requirements for this, is users wanted to know that the events are verified safe. So we have a verification system in place. This is where I did mention the event image would be the image of the property itself, where it's being hosted. I didn't feel legally right putting that in there currently right now without the express permission of those property owners. So yeah, I just kind of put that template in there as it. I figured I would stick with properties in the Orlando area that actually do Beyblade tournaments. So if you actually Google this, you can find information pertaining to real life tournaments being evented or hosted at Coliseum of Comics and Cool Stuff Games in Maitland. All right, so we're gonna go through our full view here, and let's say you're on an event, you're a user, and let's say this is a routine event that happens very often, and you always want to make sure you stay up on a date with it. Or maybe let's say it's a tournament you really, really, really wanted to go to, but the spots filled up so quick, and you want to make sure you jump on it next time. Well, we set up reminders just for that. So we're going to go ahead and click this little bell icon here. It's going to trigger our spring bell state 2. And then we're going to go ahead and hit register now. I'm going to walk through, and all this stuff is mumbo jumbo. It's not real numbers or anything, not real credit card number for sure. But we're going to go ahead and hit confirm and pay. And as you can see, it has done a registration confirmation for the user. So they are given feedback that, their account is generated properly, that they're actually registering, and we can even verify that. So let's go ahead and first we're going to go look at our reminders. If you remember, I clicked the bell notification and it turned on. So we saw a green light with it. As you can see here in my reminders, you can actually see it. And if we navigate to any other page and then hit alerts again, we should still see this app, this page, because that is the set state that I set it to. But yeah, let's go ahead and go back here. We're going to go to view detected events again. Got our full championship information, and see if I go back through it in that step, it doesn't have it. But let's say I go through... Hey, let's go through... I'm trying to think. Let's go through... one that has already been created. Let's go through our confirmation here. Let's go through this one. Okay, so we have confirmations for all 3 properties. We'll get to a bit more information about this stuff here in a second, but I just wanted to make a mention that if you go to it from any other one outside of that flow, you can actually see the proper state for it. It's just I clicked something that was in a prior step 2, and it wasn't properly associated in. So that's a user error, not a programming error. All right, so let's go ahead and continue. We'll go ahead and hit back to home here. We'll go to different events. As you can see, here's another event that is verified. We can go to full detail information. We can hit register now. Shows you the registration flow. Let's go back here. We'll go back to browse. And we'll go to a third one. Uh-oh, this one's been flagged. Well, now we know it's potentially unsafe. Let's go ahead and give some full details about the tournament. As you can see here at the very, very top of the screen, it puts an unsafe venue flag. Now, Gods and Monsters, to my knowledge, is not a yikes place. I just had to make one of the places that I was working on a bad place so I can show you this feature. Now, underneath it is a liability release. I felt that this was important to have because sometimes you can't avoid going to a less than reputable place. And I want to make sure that I'm covering all of my bases legally. Because I am treating this, as I always have, as if tomorrow I'm going to be like, hey, I'm going to publish this, I'm going to start developing it, So, in this case, let's just say the location hasn't been verified with us by users. to actually host Beyblade tournaments. This would be something that they get flagged for. Not just safety risks. All venues, until they get verified by me or by the users by submitting verification to the user, we have no way of knowing. So, as you can see, we can't move forward through here until we actually click that release. I think that is very important as a safety feature. So we'll go ahead and assume the liability release. And as we do, we can now see we're able to go through our confirmation and get our confirmation. It even says the user signed a waiver there. All right, so let's go back up here. We'll go ahead and go to our profile, show you our profiles working here. We got our settings all set up in here so we can get the tournament reminders or registration confirmations. These are off by default because one of the main requirements of this app is that it doesn't give them notification fatigue. So we want to empower the users themselves to shut off whatever notifications they don't want. You know, I, as a user, first and foremost, cannot stand when an app does not give me the features or the options to turn off persistent notifications like this. So I made sure that that was a personal feature that I put in because I, as a user, would not want it to ping every time, you know, the radar discovered a new tournament. That could be very often depending on where you're at, especially in Canada, where they have like bigger, you know, tournaments and stuff like that. So we're just going to go ahead and hit back here. And as you can see here, all of our scrolling features also work, you know, for our like, you know, longer pages and stuff like that, which is good. As you can see here from our browse pages and stuff like that, they also scroll, but there's only a little bit of the wiggle room because of the type of device it's being displayed on right now. I think it's like a iPhone 16 or something like that. Typically I have a 17 Pro Max, so my screen is actually bigger than that, so it looks funky on that when I tried to display it. It was a little not center, but yeah. So this is my application. Everything is up and running. Everything is working. You know, it shows you where events are, allows you to, you know, open and view all events, a little bit about the event itself, full details about the event, like important information like check-in times and stuff like that. You know, more information like what kind of format it is, just a little bit about the actual tournament people themselves. Yeah, all of our secure payment pages. I can't think of anything else, but that is the entire user experience that a user would go through while using the Spin Detect app. And this is my fully working prototype. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye. Ja, matane.